fracturing sites by my colleagues John Freisig, Sukas, Lula, Xiaowei Yang, and myself in the Journal of Occupational Environmental Medicine. And rather than have you try to read the abstract, let's just go through the paper. And so our objective was to study whether the rates of childhood cancer, in particular childhood leukemia and brain tumors, are associated with counties that have a lot of hydraulic fracturing. In other words, are the cancer rates in children higher in counties where there's a lot of fracking than they are in other areas that don't have fracking? Okay, a little bit of background. You know all this probably better than I do. The Marcellus Shale is the largest shale in the United States, covers 6 states, including much of Pennsylvania. Hydraulic fracturing has been around for about 60 years. So it's become economically feasible recently when horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing techniques were combined. So that is fairly new technology, even though the hydraulic fracturing of vertical wells has been going on for decades. And hydraulic fracturing came to Pennsylvania in the late 1990s, so a little over 10 years, maybe 12 or 15 at the most. And as you know, fracking involves injecting high-pressure fluids into shale to create fissures to release natural gas, which is brought to the surface. Little map, you all know this one. I don't have a pointer. Yeah, I don't have a pointer. Okay. At any rate, the Marcellus Shale is huge. We have the Antrim Shale in Michigan, and we are actually just beginning to do what you've been doing for over a decade. My understanding of Michigan is all the leasing. It has been going on very actively for the past couple of years. And so I expect that we will also start to see a fair amount of fracking in the next few years. As the lower map shows, the Marcellus Shale covers much of the state. So it's a big area, and it's an important area. There are chemicals used in fracturing shale. I've listed the 5 largest volume chemicals: methanol, isopropanol, crystalline silica, that's sand, ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, that's a solvent. In fact, we use chemicals very similar to that in cleaning products in the kitchen. The glycol ethers, they're very good at breaking up grease and oil and emulsifying, they're also slippery, and ethylene glycol. In addition to the chemicals that are put down with the sand and water mixture, some things come back. There is naturally occurring radiation that sometimes comes back in the flowback fluid. There can be odors, there's certainly traffic, noise when drilling is going on. There can be some seismic activity, and of course risks of fires and explosions. So there are lots of potential concerns. Okay, so how did we study childhood cancer in relation to fracking? Well, first off, Pennsylvania has a very good cancer registry. Every case of cancer in the state is registered and has been, goes back to 1990. So there's 20 years of data on cancer incidence in adults and in children. And so we obtained the cancer registry data for all cancers in people younger than 20 years. We were most interested in leukemias and brain tumors. Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection has a data file called the SPUD reports, which are publicly available. You can just go online and get them. It gives you the GIS coded locations of every well drilled in the state and what type of well it was. I'll show you what that looks like. And so we obtained the SPUD reports. When we did the study, they were only available through 2009. So we had to trim the cancer data to correspond with the same period of time. But nonetheless, we were able to look at over a decade of data. And for each well drilled, we collected the county where it was drilled, and with the coordinates, the date it began, and the type of oil, or the type of well, whether it was oil, gas, combination, vertical versus horizontal, and whether it was in the Marcellus Shale. Okay. And then to analyze the data, we compared the childhood cancer rates before and after drilling in each county. Again, for all cancer combined, leukemias and lymphoma and brain cancers. And the point here, this is important, because of course there's a background rate of cancer in every population. And so the issue in relation to fracking is, well, did the rates go up after fracking came to that county? So we looked at before and after. And as you'll see, we also looked at, we grouped the counties by the number of wells. In other words, the intensity of drilling in the counties to see whether the cancer rates increase with increasing amounts of drilling. Okay. So here's what the Pennsylvania Cancer Registry looks like. And so this you can get from the Department of Health. And what I've listed at the bottom is just a typical line listing Pennsylvania 2009, here are 4 age groups, 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, both sexes, all races. In situ is whether it's invasive or not invasive. The number of invasive cancers, the number of population, which is, if you're going to calculate cancer rates, you need cases per population per year. And then it gives the cancer rate and the lower and upper confidence limits on that rate. So, a little bit of statistics. But the point is the data is available. This is what the Pennsylvania well data looks like from the Department of Environmental Protection. And you can get that. You can just go online and get this. And as you can see, if you have very, very good vision, is the spud date, the well API, the operator, the region, the county, the municipality, the well number, the farm name, and the well type. Okay, and then of course latitude and longitude, and whether it's in the Marcellus Shale and whether it's a horizontal well. So a fabulous research tool. Right? If you want to look at, gee, where are the wells being drilled and where are the cancer cases? This is public data. It's not, other than it takes a statistician to help analyze the data, it's not hard to do. Okay, and so this is a graph of the number of wells drilled in Pennsylvania from 1998 through 2009. And you can see the legend at the bottom. The dark bars are gas wells, the lighter gray bars are oil, and the white are others. And what you can see is there's been a pretty dramatic increase in both gas and oil drilling over that decade of data. So that's no surprise to you, I'm sure. Okay. And this is how we grouped the counties. We made 4 groupings, and you can see at the upper left the groupings. No wells, those are the white counties. There's no Marcellus Shale down there in the southeastern corner. 1 to 500 wells in light gray, 500 to 1,000 in the next darker gray, 1,000 to 2,000 in the third darkest, and then more than 2,000 wells in the darkest gray of all. And so there's a distribution of counties from none up to more than 2,000 wells. All right, so it's a good way of grouping the data. All right, and these are the actual counts of the wells. And so you can see coal bed methane, combination oil and gas alone, injection wells, oil wells unknown, totaling about 29,000. And then we can also tell how many of them are horizontal wells. So a small number at the time this data set was posted were horizontal, but there's certainly a lot of gas wells and a lot of oil wells and combination wells. Okay, so here are the results.